How would you sum up your life when you get to be this old? Is that lady old?
No.
She looks pretty old, right? I'm getting there. I'm getting there, right? How would you sum up your life at the end? When you're getting old, when you get to this point, right, where you're 90, you know, people live to be 100 nowadays, right? Think about that. How would you sum up your life? Where you've been, where you are, where you're going? How would you sum that up? Several years ago, there was a magazine, right, that put out a contest, and they asked their readers, in 6 words or less, sum up your life. That's kind of hard, right? But they had a contest, right? And I just heard recently somebody else is doing this to write a book and getting everybody's opinions on racism. In 6 words, write what you think about racism. In 6 words, right? So I guess that's a thing nowadays, to do a 6-word thing. Okay, I guess it's a thing. I don't know, right? But how would you sum up your life in 6 words, right?
Tragic.
Thousands of people submitted. Tragic.
One word.
You're only 12.
14.
Okay. Thousands of people submitted stuff, right, to this magazine, and they wrote a book about it, right? The book's called Not Quite What I Was Planning. But let's take a look at some of the top ones that people put in, right? In 6 words, the sum of your life. Head in books, feet in flowers. Is that how you would describe your life? Married, childhood sweetheart, 2 kids, content. Somebody might change this one, right? Bored, so very bored. And that's one thing I can say. My whole life, I have not been bored. I have not been bored. My whole life, whether good or bad, I have not been bored, right? Trust me, I did my best. As some of us could say that, right? Not quite finished. Tell you later. What about some Bible characters? If we summed up the life of some Bible characters in 6 words, how would we say that, right? Check out this one. Who said that? Built a boat, then got drunk. Noah. Good job, good job. Y'all been coming to Sunday school. Killed a giant, stole a wife.
David.
Okay, who said this? Denied the Lord,
Peter.
but never again. Peter. Here we go. I messed up.
Judas.
Us.
Judas.
Judas
Good job. Judas Iscariot. This is what he said. He went. How did he die?
He hung himself.
He hung himself. Right. Died on a tree.
Tragic.
Messed up. Tragic. There you go. That's 1 word. 6. You need 5 more. I was wrong. Jesus was right. Who said that? Paul the Apostle. Remember, he was a Pharisee. He was a priest. He was religious.
He was wrong.
He was so committed to God, but he was wrong. He was killing people for God. Okay, can you imagine that? I'm going to kill you for God. Okay, we can't say that, right? We shouldn't say that.
Sad.
It's sad. It's tragic, right?
Tragic, right, Mom?
But Jesus was right. Okay, we are on today is the last sermon for the sermon series, Finish Strong. Finish Strong. We want to finish strong, right? And today's title is Preparing Today for Tomorrow's Battle. 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy has 4 chapters, right? So we did 4 weeks of this. This is our 4th one. This is chapter 4. We're finishing up. And this is it. I want to talk to you about how would you describe your life? How would you summarize your life? And I hope you'll be able to say, like the Apostle Paul, I finished strong. I finished strong, right?
It's not too late.
It's not too late. I want to talk to you about preparing today for tomorrow's battles. How can you prepare yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually today? So that tomorrow's troubles, when they come, they won't ruin the end of your story, because we're not done yet, right? We're not done with our story. There's still stuff they got to write in the books, right? So what can you do today to help you to finish your story, so that you're not ending up like, oh man, at 90 years old, I ended up in prison. You don't want that, right? But over the years, I've observed many people, right, who have gone the distance. Felix Mario Castillo went the distance, finished the race strong, right? Hope Reina, Sister Hope Reina, those of you that know her, she finished the race strong, right? Oralia Ramirez, Sister Ramirez, and we can name others, right? Who finished the race strong. Felix was still witnessing to people in the hospital on the night when he passed away. I was there, right? On the night he passed, I was there. It was like 3 in the morning. I'm all asleep. I told Brother Jesse Gonzalez, our Sunday school teacher, I said, brother, I gotta go home, man. I'm asleep. I'm asleep on top of Felix, right? And he said, okay. He said, I'm staying. And then when I got home, Brother Jesse called me and he said, hey, Felix passed away. He was fine. He was there witnessing to the doctors and nurses really that night. He was still telling people, right? Trying to tell people about Jesus, right? But think about it. There's also some of us who have given up early and who've quit. They just gave up, right? And those who quit, usually, why do they quit? They quit because something happened to them. Unexpected. Oh, the pastor didn't say hi to me. Nobody talks to me when I go to church. Well, maybe because you're in the corner by yourself. You know what I mean? You go get a cup of coffee, talk to somebody, right? But they always say that, right? Well, something happened, right? Well, I didn't know how to deal with the situation that came into my life, right? This thing came and hit me, and I wasn't prepared for it. It just hit me. Well, get ready. Get ready. That's what we're talking about, right? Get ready, right? Many people think, well, if I just have high hopes, if I just have good intentions, I'll be all right. If I just give the Christian life, the old college try, right? I'm going to give it my best, right? The old college try. That's enough, and I should be guaranteed an easy life. Is anyone guaranteed an easy life?
No.
No. Okay, now that I'm a Christian, I should have an easy life. No. That's not the way it works. What I've seen usually is that when you want to serve Jesus, when you're getting serious with Him, guess what? The battles get greater for you. It gets harder, it gets tougher. Sometimes the devil comes and throws stuff at you. Sometimes God will throw stuff at you Himself because He wants to test you. Are you really serious about following me? And God Himself will put something in front of you and say, come on, God, man, the devil's trying to hit me. You're trying to test me too? That's the way it works. Are you ready? How can you get ready today for tomorrow's battles, right? In chapter 2 of Timothy, right, we see Paul, and he gives us 3 attitudes that we got to have that are going to empower us to overcome life's battles when they show up later. Okay? That even before they show up, we got to be ready. We got to be ready. Point number 1. If you want to win tomorrow's battles today, be prepared to go alone. Be prepared to go alone. Verses 9, 10, and 16, we're going to take a look at that in 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4. Let's take a look at those real quick. 2 Timothy 4, 9. Excuse me. Do your best. He's talking to Timothy. Paul is saying, remember, Paul is in a Roman prison. Right? He thinks it's the end of his life. He says, Timothy, do your best to come to me quickly. Timothy was the pastor of Ephesus, of a church in Ephesus, right? He says, come to me quickly, Timothy, verse 10. For Demas, that dirty dog Demas, because he loved this world, has what? Deserted me. And has gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, and Titus to Dalmatia. These were his friends. Demas was his friend. It's a good friend that they were involved serving the Lord together. But what did he say? Demas loved the world more than Jesus, so he deserted me. How many of you, don't raise your hand, are like Demas? I don't want to go to church today because the Cowboys are playing. The Cowboys lose every game. It's not worth it no more, right? It's not. I was so disappointed.
Hey,
So disappointed. I'm glad the Green Bay Packers lost.
The 49ers being bad. That's right, man.
Yeah. Look at verse 16. 2 Timothy 4:16. At my first defense, what? No one came to my support. Demas left him. No one comes to Paul's support. But what it says? Everyone deserted me. Oh no. Back then when Paul was doing ministry, right, he was to some people just another preacher. We all see him today. Man, he was one of God's most famous apostles, the best, right? He was one of the best of God's people, right? Back then, they just thought, man, there's another preacher coming asking for money, right? Some churches distanced themselves from him, right? They said, oh man, here he comes again, right? And some other preacher spoke out against Paul, right? And he was a polarizing character. Think about that. He would tell you, man, are you for Jesus or not? Are you going to serve him or not? He wouldn't play games. He wasn't just like, oh, okay, I know, you just got a little drunk. So, but that's okay. God's going to forgive you. Paul wasn't like that. Paul said, hey, get your act together, man. You're a follower of Jesus. You don't get drunk no more. You don't do drugs no more. You come to church. You serve the Lord. Get your act together. That was Paul the apostle, right? He did not mess around. That was Paul. And we don't know everything about Paul's life, right? But we do know that in his when he wrote 2 Timothy, he was incarcerated. He was in the Roman prison, right? On the first time he was arrested, right? He says here, at my first defense, when the first time he was arrested, he had to face it all alone. And you know what? It didn't stop him. He didn't give up. It didn't faze him, right? He didn't say, I'm going to quit. Like some of us, right? When tough times come and tough times hit our lives, well, I'm not going to serve the Lord no more. He understood from the very beginning that sometimes you got to go at it alone. He knew that. He knew that, right? You remember the song that we've sung, right? I have decided to follow Jesus, right? Though none go with me, still I will follow. No turning back. No turning. I love that song. I remember the first time I heard that, man, I was crying in tears. Just like, no, I will never go back. Never go back, right?
Amen.
The Apostle Peter says, when you go back as a believer, when you go back, it's like a dog going back to his vomit. Well, I don't drink no more, but then they see you at the bar drinking. Woo, having the time of your life. It's like a dog going back to his vomit. We don't want that. None of us would want that, right? But there's going to be times in our lives where you have to go it alone. That none are going to go with you. You're going to feel like, hey, where's everybody at? Where's all my friends, right? I became a Christian in 1985. I was 21 years old. 1985. 1 year later, I was going to SAC, right? 1 year later, they tell me at SAC, hey man, we have the summer missions. I went to the Baptist Student Union where during lunchtime on Wednesdays, they had a bunch of Christians got together. And so I went, and then the leader said, hey, we're having summer missions. Does anybody want to go? And I went up to him after. I said, what summer missions? He says, you don't know? I'm like, no. And he told me about it, and he explained it, that you go for the summer to some city, and said, we'll pay for everything, and you just got to go. And he said, what do you think? And I said, sign me up. I had been a Christian 1 year. I didn't know a lot. I didn't know nothing. I had just been 1 year, right? And so here I go. And they sent me to Nevada, the state of Nevada. Nevada, I don't know if you knew, but Nevada is bad as far as Christianity. Very few churches, and the churches that are there, the guy that was driving me around, because we were going to go all over Nevada. We were going to hit like about 10 cities all over. Vegas, Reno, all over, right? All these big cities. But then there's cities that you've never heard of, like Jarbidge. Anybody heard of Jarbidge, Nevada? No, it's the most remote city in Nevada. It's hard to get there. You have to go up into Utah and come back down to get, there's no other way. You can't get to it through Nevada. Through driving from the south going north, you can't get to it. But we were everywhere, right? They gave me a partner. My partner's friend, my friend, his name, he was from Arkansas. Big old hillbilly guy. I'm not kidding. Like 6'5", like as wide as a TV, man. Like a refrigerator, man. Big guy. Yeah, he was big, but he was a hillbilly, man. He was, and he was a good guy, And so we went. We were all over. We had just spent some time in Diamond Valley, Nevada. They said, y'all gonna go do VBS all summer long. I'm like, okay. And tell little kids about Jesus, right? So we did that. But my friend David, we had just finished coming out of Diamond Valley, Nevada, and I'll tell you, that's another story that I saw God's hand, man, move like never before. There was a storm, man, that hit we're in the middle of nowhere like that. And they left us there for a week. The pastor left. He left us in a horse trailer. He said, I'll see you in a week. He left us a bunch of food and was like, hey, I got thrown out of the Boy Scouts. I don't even know how to light a fire. You know what I mean? He said, and then a huge storm came and hit. I mean, hail and everything. That's another story. But anyway, we had just finished that. And then we go and they say, we're going to send you to Jarbidge. But that night, my friend David George exploded in the bathroom.
Literally.
Literally exploded in the bathroom. And it wasn't number one. He exploded and it was all over the walls, everything, man. I'm not kidding. He tells me, Roger, I need your help. And he has no clothes on, right? And I'm like, hey. You know, I love you, but
You're on your own, man.
and I walk in and I see everything exploded all over the bathroom, and I'm like, he says, call the pastor. I call the pastor. To make a long story short, they send him home. They send him home, and then I'm like, I was left by myself, and they said, hey, we're still going to Jarbidge, Nevada. I said, in Jarbidge, Nevada, it's down there somewhere, right? And there's only one little dirt road that it's 18 miles to get there, down there, right? He said, we're still going. He said, you know what? The gospel has never been shared in Jarbidge, Nevada. Do you still want to go? What do you think I said?
Nope.
I said, nothing's going to stop me, man. I came here. I came to serve the Lord. I'm going to serve him if I have to go alone. He said, we're going to leave you there by yourself. I said, I might die. He was like, I don't know nothing about camping. I don't like camping, right? Sandra loves it and everything, but whew. But there we go, down this little road like that, right? That's the way it is. 18 miles down. Whew, we get down there, and this is it. You know how many people live in Jarbidge, Nevada? 18 people live there. It's so remote. When it snows, you can't get there for months. Like from November to like April, you can't get in there. Because there's just one little dirt road, right? 18 people live there. 6 little kids came out, and I did vacation Bible school for like 3 days with them. All 6 of them came to know the Lord. And then we left. I don't know what happened. All I know is I did what I was supposed to, right? In Jarbidge, Nevada. I was scared to death. Remember, I didn't know nothing about Christ. I was 1 year. 1 year. But I knew enough that Jesus saves people, right? So even if no one comes, if no one helps you, right? Even if you blow up the bathroom, right?
Jesus saves
Don't
the
quit.
next lives.
Don't quit. Don't quit. You keep running the race, right? Point number 2. If you want to win tomorrow's battles today, you must let go of your hurts. This is going to get hard, right, for some of us. I know Johnny was telling me that somebody that he knows told him, well, how can you forgive certain people if they've done certain stuff to you, like bad stuff, right? What does the Bible say, right? Look at 2 Timothy 4:11. 2 Timothy 4:11. That's what it says. Remember, Paul is still talking here. And Paul says, only Luke is with me. Who's Luke? Does anybody know who Luke is?
Doctor.
Dr. Luke, the one who wrote the Gospel of Luke, right? Was he an apostle?
No.
No. And then he says, get Mark. Who's Mark? The Mark who wrote the Gospel of Mark. Was Mark an apostle? No. So why in the world are they writing Gospels for, right? Because they knew the apostles, right? Paul says, look, Luke is with me. I'm not alone. Luke is still here. I'm in prison. But get Mark and bring him with you, because he is helpful to me in my ministry. This is the same Mark that they call John Mark, right? John Mark. Do y'all know what happened with him and Paul and Barnabas, right? Paul and Barnabas had a fallout. They were going on a missionary trip, right? And they say, hey, let's bring Mark. And they say, no, Mark, he backed out on us last time. Paul tells Barnabas. He backed out, and Barnabas says, yeah, but give him another chance. Paul said, no, I'm not going to give him another chance. And so they got into a big argument. They were going to fight already. Let's go to the Castillo gym and let's work this out, right? But I said, no. Finally, Barnabas said, okay, you know what? If you're not going to bring him, then I'm not going either. And Paul said, well, good, you go too. Remember, Paul was tough, right? And Paul said, I don't want y'all around. But now look at what he's saying. Bring him with you, because he is helpful to me. So what happened? Did Mark change or did Paul change, or both? I think it was both, right?
Yes.
I think it was both. Paul is now saying, bring Mark, man. Bring Mark. I've learned to let go, right? I've learned to let go. Look at verse 14. Alexander the metal worker did me a great deal of harm. Whose who's in the world is Alexander the Metamorpher? We don't know. And what did he do? How did he cause him great harm? We don't know. But he says, the Lord will repay him for what he's done. Well, he did something bad in order for Paul to write this down, right? We don't know what he did. But Paul said, the Lord will repay him, right? When someone does something wrong, something hurtful, you don't have to carry that around with you forever, right? Holding that grudge. Yeah, we've all held grudges, right? You can let it go and say, the Lord will repay him. I just read somewhere else where Paul said, you know what? The Lord's going to hit you for that. Oh, man. They were disagreeing with Paul, and Paul said, you know what? God's going to deal with you harshly. He's going to hit you in the face. Man, that's tough, right? So don't hold on to grudges. Let it go. Look at verse 16. At my first defense, the first time he was locked up, right? No one came to my support. We read this. But everyone deserted me. And how does he end it? May it not be held against them. May it not be held. You and I need to have this in our vocabulary. You and I need to say this all the time. Somebody cuts you off, you're driving, and the finger's about to go up, not your thumb, not your pinky. That finger's about to go up. Instead say, may it not be held against them. Sarah was saying some big white lady was going to beat her up the other day, right? And I know Sarah said this. May it not be held against her, Lord. Jesus, you hit her for me, Jesus. Hit her for me.
Knock her down.
Yeah.
I tried to take a second look.
She's too big.
Better shut up.
This phrase needs to be a part of our lives, you guys. We need to use this phrase all the time, and we need to say it like we mean it, and we need to mean it when we say it.
Yeah.
May it not be held against them. You know you've been wronged before in your life, right? And were you able to say this, right? If this phrase is a part of our lives, we will be able to finish strong in the Christian life. Think about that. A lot of people, when they give up the Christian life, right, they give up, right, because something bad happened to them, right? Somebody did something to them and things like that. They got hurt, they got mistreated, they got ignored, right? Things like that, right? And they say, you know what, this Christianity stuff is not worth it. So they turn their back on Jesus. You're not turning your back on anybody else but Jesus when you walk away from the things of God, right? But not Paul. Paul said, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm bigger than that, man. My God is a big God, right? And I will forgive those who have spoken against me. I will forgive those who have betrayed me. I will forgive those who have abandoned me. He says, I will do that, right? I don't know about you, but sometimes I catch myself getting mad all over again on somebody that I've already forgiven. And then I remember again what they did. So, I already forgave them, but you know what? Jesus, you got to help me again to forgive them again, right? Think about that. We do that, right? You remember, it's like, I already forgave them, but you know what? Ugh. I saw them again. I forgot about them, but I saw them again. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? I have a hard time when somebody who you're walking into the store and they don't open the door for you. They see you coming and they just let it close. It's like, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, open the door. You know, it's like, well, you're not a lady. It's like, so what? I'm a person. Open the door, right? Or has anybody ever given you wrong directions on purpose? And you go, it's like, hey, I'm lost, more lost than what? Man, that dirty dog, they lied to me, right? So they gave me the wrong directions, right? Or one of the things that I hate the most is when they don't replace the toilet paper.
Don't look at me, man.
But they don't replace the toilet paper. Man, that drives me up the wall. I will never forgive you for that if you don't replace the toilet paper, right? Well, the thing that really, really eats me up is when you're standing on the 15 items or less and they have 20 items in their cart.
Hey,
I count them, right? It's like, hey, no, it's a little old lady, right? Hey, get out of line, lady. You know what I mean? I'll never forgive you for bringing 20 items, right? So, let it go, Roger, let it go, right? It wasn't that bad, right? There was this one girl that she was mad at her doctor. She said, I'll never forgive him. I said, why? What happened? I said, well, one time for a checkup, and I went in there, and the doctor said, well, it looks like you're pregnant. And she says, all right, great, my husband's going to be so happy. And the doctor said, no, you're not pregnant. It looks like you're pregnant.
One
But
side.
you're not pregnant. She'll never forgive her doctor for that, right? If you want to win tomorrow's battles today, right? Let go of those grudges. You want to beat up the doctor? Decide today, right, that you're going to forgive those who hurt you. Now, what about those big things? You know what I mean? I'm talking about like big stuff. What does the Bible say about forgiving? Do we just forgive the little stuff? Or do we got to forgive the big stuff too? Jesus said, and it's hard, love your enemies. Love those who have lied about you, persecuting you, who are putting you down, who have hurt you. Wow. It gets hard. But that's what we need to do. Point number 3. If you want to win tomorrow's battles today, keep making plans. Don't ever quit. Don't ever give up. Look at what verse 13 says. Verse 13. I love this. I love this. Some people say Paul was ready to die. I don't know. Look at verse 13. When you come, he tells Timothy, bring the cloak. Bring my nice warm Nike jacket that I left with Carpus at Troas. And my scrolls, especially the parchments. If he's not about to die, why does he need books? Why does he need his scrolls? If he thinks, well, some people say, well, Paul knew, that's it. He was dying, he was about to die. He was on his last leg. He was at the, what do they call it? The hospice, right? When you're at the hospital, they put you, if they ever come and put you in hospice, get ready to go. Okay?
You was on death row?
If they ever come to me and say, do you want to go to hospital? No. Keep me here as long as you can, okay? Don't put me in a hospice. And they put you in hospice. That hospice is hospitable. No, it's bad. It's bad. At the hospital, at the hospice. You don't want that, right? This doesn't sound like a man on his way out, right? It doesn't sound like Paul's ready to quit. Don't ever quit, you guys. Don't ever quit. As long as you have breath in your lungs, right? Like Brother Felix Mario Castillo, right? He was on his last breath. He was still telling people about Jesus, right? Paul sounds like a man with a plan here, right? He said, you know what? I'm in prison, but I got a plan B. And what are these scrolls and parchments that he's talking about? The scrolls, some people believe, was probably his Old Testament books that he had. You know, like I have books here, that all these books that I've read. Some of them I haven't even read. They just make me look smarter. That's why I have them there, right? And then the parchments. What are the parchments? What is he talking about? Were they the early Christian writings, the Gospels that have been written, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? Is that what he's talking about? Or was he talking about, bring me some more paper because I'm going to write more letters to send to the churches? We don't know, right? We don't know for sure. But Paul kept moving forward, right? He made plans. There's this one pastor that was sharing about his dad. He said, hey, my dad retired in his 70s. He was 70 years old when he retired from work. But he said, you know what? He spent the last 20 years of his life working for the kingdom of God. When he retired, he went out and he helped plant a church. He trained teachers. He taught Sunday school. He preached in churches. He counseled pastors, right? And at the age of 78, he went back to college to get another degree. Went back to college. He never quit making plans. 78 and went back to school. Think about that. This is what we all want to be able to say, right? That we lived a good life. That we served the Lord faithfully until the end. Don't ever quit serving the Lord, you guys. When you accept Jesus as your Savior, the Bible says you've been born again. How can you be unborn? Can you tell your parents, I don't want to be born no more. I wish I was never born. And some of us have that to our parents, right? But you can't say that. It's too late. You're born. When you become a Christian, you're born again. You're a Christian. You can't go back. You can't say, well, I'll take it back. I don't want to be a Christian no more. This Christian life is too hard. I'd rather go drink and smoke and, do all these crazy things. Says, no. Don't ever quit. You can't quit. So you might as well go out swinging, right? Go out swinging. Go out swinging. At the beginning of the message, right, I talked about those 6 words of how to sum up your life, right? Well, it's too soon for us to write those 6 words right now. It's too soon, right? We're still living our lives. It's not over. There's still time, right, on the clock. We're still going. The Green Bay Packers ran out of time.
Yeah.
So, if the, if the summary of your life today, think about this. If the summary of your life today doesn't look the way you want it to, there's still time to change it. There's still time to change the outcome. There's still time to finish strong. We're not done yet. Well, I messed up all these past years. I was a Christian. I was following Jesus. I messed up. But you're not over yet. Your life isn't over yet. You still have time to finish strong.